outside of the map, and it is Chuck Francis in the pink color or the fuchsia color, I think.
I don't
Lavender,
know.
bougainvillea, bubblegum. All right, so a bunch of pink colors. I do enjoy going through them. On the other side of the map, you have Blink-182 in the plain blue. Nothing special to talk about here. It is Prarie. Both says go to scouts. Naturally, we've talked about this before. We'll say it again. Prarie has a fuck ton of sheep.
Yeah, I could. And does anyone in chat actually know the specific amount of sheep that is on Dry Arabia versus Prarie?
Normal maps 24 sheep, but Prarie has 48.
Okay, so it's literally just double.
I think so, but don't take my word for it.
Okay. Buckabyss is new to the scene as in today. Gosh darn. All right, well, welcome in. We'll open you up with welcome you in with open arms. Absolutely.
Open you up with welcome.
Open you up with arms is definitely something different. All I'm gonna say is welcome to almost the best of the best players with almost the best of the best casters. I'm gonna put it that way.
Okay, moving on from this self-serving idea, we'll just briefly we'll just briefly comment that HR into French, kind of a tough matchup. How do you feel about that?
It's a very weird matchup, right? Because it's upgrade dependent. And what I mean by that,
how do you mean?
Man-at-Arms, they technically lose into Knights, but the fact that the Holy Roman Empire have an upgrade that makes the Man-at-Arms deal extra damage against armored units really flips the script on Man-at-Arms versus Knights.
I would argue that it does so against regular Knights, but French with their charge and their bonus damage do tend to... Oh, wow. Are we going to actually see...
Goodbye, sweet prince.
Wow. Okay.
GG, go next.
GG. And just a good reaction from Blink to spot that. Unlucky for Chuck, because he just turned the corner on that forest, so he had no vision of the DC until then.
Okay, so my counter argument to that, it's Prarie. If you look closely at it, we can't really like have a good vision of it, but you see like if you walk upon a hill, it's their base. There's nowhere else where it's a hill like Prarie does.
This one hill to the... Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you can definitely argue that Chuck should have known, but there's 2 scouts. There's a lot of micro going on. Unfortunate. We'll chalk it up to a minor starting advantage. Move on. The School of Cavalry does come down with only 3 villages. Arkin Chapel going down with 5. We've seen Arkin Chapels being rushed now more often, just to try and get the eco bonus around them. Just a quick reminder, of course, garrisoning the prelate inside the Arkin Chapel does give you a pretty cool inspiration bonus in all the villages around it, which means they gather, of course, 40% faster normally, and then you have some upgrades in the castle age that make this faster.
Yeah, so this Arkin Chapel, it's pretty beautiful.
Good.
It's pretty good. I mean, it gets berries, I do believe, and does get the sheep, obviously, and does get the gold. I'm a little bit conflicted as well, because it would have been better, but the cliff here does block a lot of spots. Does block a lot of spots for potential farms. Not something you often see on Prarie, but it's still an option.
Right. Yeah, well, that's... Yeah, I will agree that that's really kind of sucky. But I don't know if this will become that... Obviously, this only becomes super relevant if there's a late game situation. I don't know that 5 farms will be a differentiator in this game. It's possible. But the question obviously is like, okay, if you don't put the Arkin here, where do you put the Arkin?
Nowhere.
This gets you berries, this gets you sheep, this gets you gold.
Yeah, it's definitely the best one you can possibly do here. And we do see a very early archer range here for Blink-182. So it definitely does expect the potential that there will be some words that there would be some spears, but no, the defense of choice will be an outpost. And it does look like there is a fast castle coming up.
What a surprise, Ashari going fast castle. I do like this. I've seen this before where some people leave the outpost in 99% build and then, you know, just tap it if you see something coming. And of course, if you never need the outpost, you then cancel it later on and get the wood back for production building once you reach castle. But that's not what's happening here. Chuck deciding to, you know, not waste his APM on these useless things like diamond players do. And focus more importantly on thinking about what his long-term plan is going to be. And it's got to be the Regnits for me. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's so hard. I don't want to say anything. But yeah, it's tough.
Okay. Moving on, a nice reaction by Chuck to Garrison over there. And good job as well to pull off. He realized he had 7 villagers on the outpost. So, ooh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Making sure that not a single villager gets touched there. Being able to chip away health at the night is also useful. I think the gold doesn't really mean much. Chuck has the gold for castle and drops the Burgrave. Thinks about it, drops the Burgrave again. So you will have your wish.
Surprised Pikachu face. Now, the issue for me, I'll talk about it in a little bit. It does get a villager and will get that tower up. This tower is in fact perfectly in range here. Do you believe? It is perfectly in range, but out of range. Will lose his scout though, so that could potentially come back to bite him. This tower will go up. These villagers will not die. Blink just forcing a lot of idle time. Doesn't know that this burger palace is going up, and this villager running not where you potentially want him to be. Doesn't recognize that.
This is, I mean, he got marching drills, which is really good. Oh no, there aren't enough space for the villagers anymore. And oh, the attack was just on the wrong villager there.
Yeah. But now, this golden vein has been neutralized and does have the stone to make the arrow slits here. So we'll be forcing them back. And now archers as well. Not gonna be reacted just in time though. We'll be losing one, will potentially be losing a second, will not though. Castle Age gone through. Upgrade's gonna be upgrading the Spearman first. This is the upgrade I was talking about. 6 extra damage. Heavy Mace is a very good upgrade that can really swing the favor. And swing the battle in HRE versus French.
Yeah, they definitely do add an additional oomph to those Menatoms to make it harder for knights to engage them without, you know, thinking about it a little bit, being more strategic. That said, that outpost will be burnt down as Blink decides that he's done enough damage, he's killed 4 villagers, he's going to retreat all the way back home. And he's happy that the Burgrave has been forced out.
Yeah, I mean, it could take a little bit longer though. Fortify will come through, but I don't think it will be enough. Blink though, having a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome, making his way back to the tower, making sure to defend it. Will keep it alive for the time being. Making sure that that tower is not a ghost on the dance floor.
But where is the gold for Chuck Francis? How do you make any units from the Burgrave without the gold?
It's very hard. It's very tough. I mean, he can make like, how many is that? 4 man-at-arms. It's going to be very tough though. Blink is definitely fighting back.
I mean, Blink seems to be in decent shape. Stifling the HRE economy when they go Burgrave is super effective. And now he's run out of sheep under his town center. He's forced onto berries. And there's so many idle villagers here. Honestly, this is looking pretty difficult to recover from here. There are some options to stabilize here. Oh, Chuck is also housed, by the way, on top of this. And doesn't have the wood for a house. He's just got to cancel this lumber camp.
He needs to cancel the lumber camp. Villager, though, does go down, and that last bit of wood or gold has been spent on making those man-at-arms. The knights not there. This man-at-arms just running into the archers.
And marching drills does make it a lot harder to kite them.
Yeah. And these archers need to do the opposite of what Blink-182 is, or does. They cannot stay together for the man-at-arms, stay together for the kids. He's run away, need to split up, need to target them down. Doesn't have any knights, and a couple of knights has actually gone down on the backside, trying to force some, for something on the backside here. These towers, they're kept trying to go up and up, but they're not able to. This villager graph, or villager lead, slowly but surely building, just simply due to the fact that he's killed more villagers and has that French eco and French upgrades behind them. Look at this man-at-arms, taking no damage right now in comparison to the spearmen. But you were talking about it.
There's not enough man-at-arms, so the outpost at the bottom did get fully repaired and has been denying gold forever.
Oh my gosh.
But Francis,
he can't go for this. It is spotted, so he can't go for it. These man-at-arms right now, there's 2 man-at-arms left, and they're so valuable. They're the only really thing that's keeping Chuck Francis alive. And it's all the small things that Blink has gone forward with.
Exactly. I wonder if a Hail Mary is a Hail Mary gold that he's going to go for on the top side. I wonder if he should have gone for that earlier, but he will at least have some source of gold now. And might be able to try pushing out unit stabilize, because Blink really has committed to playing full feudal. He's pumping knights, he's pumping archers. He has decided that feudal is the way to go, and he's getting a lot done, for sure. But once Chuck Francis recovers a gold supply, and it doesn't look like that's too far away.
I mean, okay, sure, you have 4 villagers here. I guess that's...
Okay, I guess I expected more than 4.
Yeah. But don't tell me it's over just yet. Chuck Francis is really staying in this game for the time being. He really wants to keep it alive, and right now, knights, they do spot out, or an archer does spot out some villagers moving out. Does Blink know that there's a gold mine out there? He does, and he might potentially be suspecting that that's where they're going. They're going over to the berries and to the boar, but he might suspect them going over to the gold, and that is not where they're going, but where some of them already are. Man-at-arms is being made. He's able to take a decent fight here. Doesn't have critical mass to one-shot those spears no longer. Blink is still fighting in feudal. He's not looking to have his eye on to Castle Edge just yet. More man-at-arms has been made. These archers have finally been able to take down. It's gonna alleviate a lot of pressure. Be able to make some more spears to counter those French knights.
Absolutely, and the gold income recovery is a big deal. Unfortunately, oh, that's a good dodge around there. Just.
And this is pretty brutal. There's how many villagers is this? 27 villagers just running rampant, just running around.
What am I watching? The idling has been so brutal for Chuck. Even assuming he lost no villages at all, the amount of villages he lost in idle time itself was worth it.
Yeah, but he lost so many. He lost so many units. That's it. That's where I'm looking at. The destruction value is pretty good, yes, but
funnily enough, he needs to emergency repair the outpost on the south side.
I mean, for what? It will go. If it goes down, then what? It doesn't matter. You can't take that gold anyways.
Yeah, sure, but yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter in the long run. Fair point. That's very fair. And the gold is still not spotted out for Chuck. Did he? Yeah. Blink is floating 800 wood, which is interesting. And Chuck still hasn't been able to get maces, which would really change, as you said, the complexion of this Men at Arms versus Knight duel. And with
again, look at the line. Absolute line. You could say it's the longest line right now of these villagers running back home, running out, running back. This gold though has gone uninterrupted for time being. 500 gold here.
Yes, and as long as France sees this gold, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, the second that happens, it's pretty dead. But the board was gathered somewhere. But I feel like Blink really needs to start asking questions. Where does Chuck Francis get the gold from? He knows that there's gold. He knows that there's gold here. It's very hard to notice, yes. But it's like, more Man-at-Arms has been coming in. But from where? There's no scouts. There's nothing. He isn't really scouting. He isn't really looking for it.
Well, I mean, I guess he's moving on from deny gold to deny other resources, because he definitely seems to be thinking about denying at this point. Chuck doesn't have as far, like, he's getting towered. He's getting towered on his north wood line. He's getting like villagers killed by archers on the Aachen. There is no source of wood.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal. We talked about these farms. They are on the correct side for the time being, though.
More villagers just keep dying. And Chuck's gotta feel... I mean, if I was a villager working with Chuck Francis, I would feel pretty demoralized by now, with all my friends having died to night raids.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Blink, of course, is gonna just chill out on the map, go out around, eat all the deer, eat all the board. No one's telling him.
Finally adds a second town center. So finally, we'll cement that eco lead quite a bit.
Yeah, the eco lead, the military lead, the momentum lead. The only thing he doesn't have is the technology lead.
Villager lead, or sorry, the villagers that's moving out will be spotted by that archer. Will definitely be caught up by some knights anytime shortly. But he's just doubling down and throwing away so many units. I feel like if a lot of these resources was actually spent on going to castle, some arbitraries would just change how this game goes so quickly.
But Blink doesn't need to change how this game goes.
Could go cleaner and less chaotic, absolutely. Do you see though, this tower, this outpost, it's gonna jump into it though. It's definitely gonna be a little bit tough. Doss finally spots out the gold. That will be the last gold that Chuck Francis has the possibility of getting. He can't get anything more. He hasn't been able ever to pick up a single relic, so he can't get any more relic. He can't get gold from that. Blink actually has a scouting sheep. Now, Man-at-Arms are being thrown into the base of Blink to try to get some pressure, try to get some room. And now Knights, they're just finding more and more. It's so brutal. 33 villager kills, killed more than Chuck Francis has right now.
Chuck Francis has 36 pop. Blink-182 has 67 villagers.
Yeah, and now we might even get to equalize that one. The population is the amount that has been killed. We often talk about the world, how there's more people that has ever lived than is alive today. That certainly is correct now in this game. Knight numbers being pretty good as well, able to take these Man-at-Arms. Talked about the upgrades. Has gotten the heavy maces. And Chuck Francis recognizes that that game is over. And finally, we'll go to the next one. It's a 1-1. And we'll be going to game number 3 in the grand finals.